Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. In the next 30 minutes, we will be sharing with you the most exciting and important news in Highcon's history. Big day. This news will have a major impact on Highcon's future, but not only that, it's gonna make a huge impact on our industry. By actually providing the industry with the enabling tools to cope with the mega industry trends, among them using digital die cutting. My name is Shlomo Nimrodi. I'm the CEO of Highcon. With me today is Simon Lewis, who is our Senior Vice President of Marketing, Strategy, and Business Development. Now, mainstreaming is not just about technology. This is not the only thing that will enable our success or lack thereof. It's really the mega market trends that you guys have been listening to it in the last couple days, and you'll probably hear it again tomorrow. Everybody talks about the same. Now, those mega trends are right in front of you. You gotta be agile. You gotta really address sustainability. This is no longer a lip service. Number 3, manufacturing on demand. People don't want to put their capital to work for nothing. And last but not least is the fact that our brand owners, which we serve, are continuously looking to innovate and proliferate their SKUs. Now, let's face it, when you have digital printing, and you've heard a lot about digital printing in the last couple of days, and you're probably gonna hear tomorrow, it's not enough. Without actually having an end-to-end digital process, you're still gonna have your bottlenecks, which means unless you have an end-to-end digital process, you're not really equipped to deal with those mega trends. Now, Highcon is in its 15 years. Okay, we're actually right after Bar Mitzvah, okay? This actually would have been our 4th drupa. From day one, essentially, Highcon has been busy focusing on creating digital die-cutting technology. What is digital die-cutting technology? You know what analog die-cutting means, right? So it's pretty much doing the same with all the benefits that digital technology can bring. In order to do that, we had to master 4 major technologies. The first one is mastering CO2 laser, cutting at high speed, and obviously enjoying the freedom of innovation that laser cutting enable you. Number 1. Number 2, we developed a proprietary 3D printing technology that allows us to create the creasing line. Something that can be done in a matter of minutes compared to analog, which takes days. It's no less than a revolution, ladies and gentlemen. Number 3, we have to strip the cutting sheet. And we have to make sure that we minimize the use of labor to do that. And the 4th item is workflow. And what is workflow? Workflow is really looking upstream, from the pre-press, through the print, and all the way to the finishing. And today, every system we sell today to our customers incorporate these tools. And Simon is gonna talk about that some more. Now, let's look at our customer base. And somebody in the break told me, hey, we want to see customers, what they're doing, how they're implementing. So there are 3 buckets on this slide. The 3rd bucket lists major players. I'm sure most of you know them, and I'm happy to say that many of them have more than one Highcon system. And they're all serving the list on the right-hand side, major brands primarily. The second list, which is really emerging, and more so in the last 5 years, are small to medium-sized businesses that recognize those mega trends and equip themselves with a digital end-to-end process, printing and die cutting. And those are serving the small to medium-sized market as well as the large players. What that slide tells you, that Highcon's technology is widely adopted. There is no question about it. Now, when I joined Highcon, late 2019, we all remember what happened in early 2020. One of the first decisions we made as a management team that we need to pivot the company toward the packaging industry. Up until then, we were primarily selling into commercial print. By the way, I missed a big, important message. Thank you, Simon, for reminding me. How do we measure this success? We have 80 installations. 2/3 of them are in the packaging industry. 2/3. 25% of them are with at least 2 Highcon units, which means we're addressing unmet need, and which means we're doing it properly. Now I can go back to my sequence. Oops. It's not, okay. Yeah, that's the one. So what you see here on this slide, that our packaging customers have demonstrated consistently 50% compounded annual growth. And ladies and gentlemen, this came primarily by them addressing the mega market needs. And that's an important message for you to take today. And 50% growth, considering where the market was in the last couple of years, is a huge growth. I'm sure you will admit, you will accept it. Now, I'm standing here in front of you today. We're ready to serve the packaging industry. As of the end of the first quarter of 2024, 80% of our job growth is coming from packaging players. And this is why I stand before you today feeling that we're prime for mainstreaming digital finishing. With that, Simon, let's wow the audience.
Thank you, Shlomo, and hello, everybody. So, our top news story today is for folding carton. Highcon is today announcing the new Highcon Beam 3 digital die cutting system and the new Highcon Beam Writer. Together, these two systems represent an important performance leap that we'll talk about in a bit, but first take a look at this. So, in a nutshell, what is the Beam 3? It is a digital die cutting system that is 50% more productive than the Beam 2 that we offer today when combined with the Beam Writer. More productive, let's put it in simple terms. For a converter, that means 10 jobs, new jobs they've not seen before, of at least 1,000 sheets per shift, every shift in folding carton. And when we say folding carton, we mean carton board or microflute. That is a big deal. It's not something that anybody can do today. And the productivity improvement of the Beam 3 alone without the Beam Writer is 25%. The Beam 3 is building on the core values that our Beam systems are already delivering. So, Highcon complements analog by analog die cutting to improve overall site productivity by freeing up analog capacity. We don't replace analog die cutting, we live side by side. Small batches can now be profitable for converters rather than a loss leader. And for the brands, they become affordable because they become released from the shackles of minimum order quantities and high starting prices. Jobs can be delivered without waiting for tooling, new jobs, and they can be received and finished in hours, not days. Digital printing alone isn't sufficient. We can improve shelf appeal, unleashing creativity with brand strengthening cutouts. We can deliver amazing unboxing experiences, for example, with zippers that actually open. Don't tell me you haven't fought with a zipper before, because it's inevitable. And actually, Highcon Beam systems allow customers to do things they simply can't do conventionally. Analog or digital print, inkjet or toner, UV or water-based, we are truly print agnostic, which is necessary in this changing world. And in the tight labor markets, It makes it easier to find and train operators who don't require years of training and experience. So it's solving a real and growing problem. With this as a background, what are the innovations in the Beam 3 to enable the mainstreaming and to deliver that 50% leap in productivity with higher quality? First, fast, predictable setup. Predictability matters because it enables better planning and execution. With hardware changes and algorithms, the Beam 3 is a paradigm shift in terms of setup. Setup is shorter and more predictable, less variable. That's game-changing for production managers. Next, offline crease writing, which, as we said, is an option. Dart is what we call our proprietary creasing technology, and when the Dart writing happens as a parallel process rather than as a serial process, it further shortens setup, and that frees up production time and increases capacity by around 25% for an average Highcon folding carton customer. Thirdly, 15% higher running speed with new software in the optical system. We actually mean we're getting the existing lasers to cut 50% faster, which means more sheets, as we measure speed in sheets per hour. More sheets every hour, more sheets every shift. So you take that 10% plus 25% plus 15%, that's our calculation of a 50% increase in productivity. But it's not just productivity, it's quality as well. With high registration accuracy, we have new hardware and algorithms to ensure highly accurate placement of every crease. That opens higher volume applications with smaller carton sizes like pharma and nutraceutical that need to go into downstream high-speed filling lines. With the Beam 3, this becomes a lot easier. Optimal folding force. We have new creasing drums in the Dart system. And those new creasing drums, which apply the crease, have further increased the creasing quality of every single crease consistently across the sheet, so that now we get optimally meeting the industry standard parameters for creasing and the performance required. And finally, we have our digital die cutting workflow package, which is supporting digital manufacturing, simplifying operation, and lowering barriers for new operators. Let's talk a bit more about that. Workflow. It's often a difficult topic to discuss. It's much easier to talk about feeds and speeds and physical things, but it's so important. Highcon has thought leadership in this area. Necessarily, we need to think deeply about the workflow needs for digital die cutting, but we also need to think deeply about integrating digital die cutting with the other elements of the production workflow, because finishing is a logical outcome of what comes earlier, pre-press and printing. We need to minimize the number of touches. We need to reduce the dependence on skilled personnel. And we're doing that together with industry leaders like ESCO and hybrid systems, as well as developing our own software tools. So, for example, we can help to reduce the number of setups on press and in finishing, or die cutting with dynamic ganging driven by AI-based imposition using a tool like ESCO Phoenix. We can now consume files arriving as PDF without problematic conversions to DXF or other formats by ingesting the PDF directly using hybrid systems. Automated nicks and strip line creation is essential to convert a cutting scheme that was focused on the finished product to something that runs through the digital die cutting. And that's what we do with the nick and strip line creation tool. And the last-minute editing suite is for making fixes to the things that are specific to digital die cutting that can now be done by the operator on the Highcon system without going back to the pre-press or the designer. This empowers operators, and it matters because finishing is the final frontier in digitalization. And finishing is not just about the physical process, but actually about the workflow as well. So that's the Beam 3. The new Highcon Beam Writer isn't just for the Beam 3, it's compatible with every Highcon Beam system in the field. What does the Beam Writer do? The Beam writes the foil with the creasing rules. That process takes, on average, across our install base, 10 minutes. So, if you can take that 10 minutes out, you're shortening setup time. For every 100 jobs per month, that saves 2 shifts of production capacity, increases capacity by 2 shifts worth. We have customers doing hundreds of jobs per month. So you understand what that does, and one beam writer can support multiple beam systems. Linny in the UK is a large diversified marketing services company with a very strong production capability. Amongst other things, they create retail displays for leading cosmetics brands. Their Highcon Beam 2 system is pretty much full capacity. Charles Linney, a director at the company, sees the opportunity to free up 50 hours per month by moving the crease writing from his beam system to the beam writer. That's more than 6 shifts. So that means instead of needing to buy a second beam, he suddenly magically gets more capacity. It's not magic, it's hard work. Next, we're also announcing an upgraded Beam 2C. The Beam 2C is the Highcon solution for corrugated. What is the upgraded Beam 2C? Number one, it includes the 15% higher cutting speed that I discussed. Next, with the optional beam writer, it actually delivers a 35% boost in productivity because of the different ratio that the dart writing time takes in the corrugated space versus the folding carton space. It enjoys the digital die cutting workflow package. So altogether, here too, we're talking about a 50% increased throughput. So, what we're talking about is not just for new customers. Everything I've discussed on the Beam 3 and the Beam 2C upgraded are going to be available to our existing customers. So we're going to support their investments and maintain the value. Beam 3, Beam Writer, upgraded Beam 2C. That's a lot of news from a small company like Highcon, but it's not everything. So we have one more thing, a peek into the future. The Vulcan is actually a really big deal. It's the first digital die cutting solution for the bread and butter 1.4 by 1.7 meter format of the corrugated industry. It will transform corrugated, it will transform Highcon. The spec that you see here was developed in consultation with multiple major players and absolutely meets their needs, which means meeting the needs of their customers for short to medium run packaging and for POS, with fast turnaround, with no minimum order quantities, and so on. All the core values we discussed will be applicable here. Of course, Vulcan will be Industry 4.0 compatible. Being entirely new, an entirely new system will take advantage of state-of-the-art technology. Yes, it's an entirely new system, but building on the systems, technology, and know-how that Highcon has accumulated over the last 15 years. All new, but such a natural evolution. And as you saw, it's not a dream, it's real, it's taking shape on the floor of our labs, all the many, many tons of it. Vulcan is still under development, hence the code name. And it's going to be an active product in our portfolio at Drupa 2028. We didn't just talk to converters before we started, we launched a foundation customer program to make customers partners in the process so they could review the architecture and the spec, so they could provide ongoing inputs and suggestions and be kept abreast of the progress. Our foundation customers all put 6-figure sums down on the Vulcan to join the program. And they all are existing Beam 2C customers. Who are our foundation customers? The box maker from the US, a web-to-pack company with HPC 500 digital printing, who already process thousands of jobs per year on their 3 Highcon systems. Tim, a German company with a digital vision for the Internet of Packs, offering very fast job turnaround. No MOQs, no inventories, built on digital preprint with the HPT series, and integrating Highcon for digital die cutting. UDS, a Polish company, primarily in display, will be able to move from producing display components to full displays and complementing their EFI Nozomi. Grupac from Mexico, who see the ability to do much larger jobs and many more pieces using the 3 times larger format of the Vulcan as compared to their Beam 2C non-stop. And it obviously fits with their Barbaran digital printer. And then there's Schumacher Packaging, an international €1 billion family-owned German company. They're a digital visionary. They're a company for whom the potential of Vulcan is so material that they've signed an MOU for 5 to 10 units of Vulcan over 5 years. This group of customers with differing business models, differing visions, and from different countries are an integral part of our success that we will have with Vulcan.
Simon.
Richard Brown is the president of the US company, The Boxmaker. With 3 Highcon systems, he knows that Highcon will find a very broad footprint across the corrugated industry. And 10 days ago, I interviewed Björn Schumacher, the CEO and one of the owners of Schumacher Packaging. Let's hear what he has to say.
So why is Vulcan a big deal, Björn?
Actually, so far, digital die cutting was only a niche product, only suitable for our display business. Due to the size of Vulcan, the new dimension of the machine brings digital die cutting into industrial production. And that's a big game changer for us.
So why did you sign up as a foundation customer for multiple units of Vulcan?
Well, Simon, as you know, we have been kind of a pioneer developing the digital transformation in the corrugated industry within the last, I would even say 20 years. So for us, when we heard that Highcon is going to start and to bring digital converting into reality, it was the logic consequence of the development of the first digital printing machines that we saw. And for us, it was obvious that Schumacher Packaging wanted to participate in this right from the start.
What impact will Vulcan have on your business, Björn?
The Vulcan extends the possibilities we already reached in our digital printing machines into our converting production. Actually, we believe that Vulcan is going to make our production processes more sustainable and more efficient, and at the same time bringing more creativity, more flexibility, and faster time to markets for our customers.
You visited Israel last year to see the Vulcan in our labs. What was your impression? What was the reaction to the demo that you saw?
Actually, I was very impressed and also surprised how far Highcon already is, especially with the critical part of the machines and with the laser. The speed of the machine and the accuracy was really impressive.
Finally, Björn, we're talking to an audience of journalists. What's the most important message you'd like to share in summary?
Actually, Simon, as you know, we believe in the digital transformation. It is not a question of if it will happen, but just when and how fast it will happen. And we're very happy that we have found Highcon as a partner that shares this vision and that we can rely on in developing the digital solution also for the converting part of our industry.
Thank you, Björn. So having a strong Vulcan pipeline will help us to get Vulcan to the finishing line. And for converters, having an option to be an earlier adopter of Vulcan will help them see a path to addressing the market trends, particularly faster turnaround for new jobs, elimination of MOQs and greater sustainability, thus reducing the risk that they will be unable to give their customers what they're going to be increasingly asking for. So to create a win-win, We're complementing the announcement today of Vulcan with the announcement of the Vulcan Option Program, a mechanism whereby converters can take an option on a future delivery slot and make a decision on exercising that option following a full production demo 30 to 36 months before delivery. Highcon is opening 15 delivery slots, and after that will follow the foundation customers' installations, and we'll be reaching out to the market to fill those slots.
Simon, I think you have wowed the audience. I certainly hope so. So let's recap. We talked about Revolution. We did announce the Beam 3 that combined with the Beam Writer that we have announced, we are offering 50% boost in customers' throughput. It's huge. For our Beam 2C corrugated customers, we're offering an upgrade that combined with the Beam Writer would give them 50% boost. When we developed those innovations, we had in mind our existing customers. Protecting customers' investment is critical. Everything you have seen, like Simon said, is field upgradable. Last but not least, we have shared with you Peak to the Future. It will be a prominent product in 2028 together with the rest of our products. And when you come to our booth, you will be able to see in action the Beam 3. Actually, it's going to digitally cut many digitally printed jobs from all the vendors, most of the vendors you have seen in the last couple of days, and it's going to be shipped back to them with an indication that it was digitally cut on Highcon. You will be able to see the Beam Writer working in tandem with the Beam 3. And last but not least, you will be able to meet our amazing team, very loyal and amazing team, that will talk to you, provide you more information, and hopefully engage with customers on future business. Questions?
Dave.
Yes, Joe. Dave, sorry.
That's okay. So, first of all, it was brilliant to move the Beam Writer out. Duh. But when I look at the Vulcan, which is a game changer for sure. Across the bottom of the screen, it said 3,000 boards an hour. But isn't that dependent on the complexities of the cuts? So is that like top of the, is that top speed? Is that we would like to be there,
It's up to, but that's based upon a realistic assessment of a job basket that we received from the foundation customers. So, no, not every job will run at that speed, but there really are jobs that will run at that speed. Joe.
Let's have a lady, okay?
Oh.
We're going to meet you all tonight, so.
Exactly. Can you tell us what currency this six-figure amount is in, please, for these foundation customers?
It's euros and dollars.
Euros and dollars, thank you.
Yeah.
And what sort of price is a Beam Writer?
We're not disclosing pricing, but from market studies we have done, it's an affordable and certainly much less costly than buying a new system. Can we have one more question? One more. You've had a question.
Yes. All right. With the Beam Writer, do you still need then to make a die making structure inside the beam, or can you have a de-spec beam then as well?
Right now, it's a good question. Right now, you'll have both options. But down the road, we may actually downgrade the system and allow only offline writing.
And Vulcan will only have the Vulcan Writer. There will be no crease writing inside the Vulcan.
Yes. And you said the Beam 3 is designed for folding carton. That means it doesn't support lighter weight papers?
No, Beam 3 is lighter weight.
But it's not for paper.
Yeah.
We are focused on packaging, and that's where our business is.
Paper is really more of a commercial print, which is we're trying to focus where we bring value.
We're sorry we overspoke, so we're out of time.
Well, on this link, you can scan and get a package with the videos, with the press release, with all the information, and both Simon and I will meet you guys tonight for dinner.
And they'll be giving out a hard copy with the link with this QR code. We've given it to the AD Communications team.
Jimmy, thank you very much.